Hey everyone. So this is my first, I guess, live broadcast show. Uh, I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet here. This is still um, just a trial run. I can see that I have 0 viewers right now, as I expected. So right now I'm talking to no one. Hopefully someone will watch this later on, at least these first few minutes. Just want to say right here at the start, if there's anything that you'd like to ask me, anything, um, about anything really, just let me know and I'll answer your questions as best as I can. I will be talking mostly about just things that I like, things that interest me, and just a lot of the stuff that I have around me. So to begin with, I thought I'd just um, say that I'm into saving money if there is the option to. That is finding the best deals. And there are some things that it just feels terrible to spend a lot of money on, and that is something like batteries. I know this is kind of a lame thing to start with, but it's something that a lot of gamers know can be a little difficult to find, and that is uh, cheap but reliable CR2032 batteries. These are usually the batteries used to keep time in different gaming devices, and I was able to find at Dollarama here in Toronto. It might be available at other Dollarama locations in other parts of Canada, but I can guarantee that here in Toronto they have these batteries here, three for $1, and that's the best price that you can find for them, other than ordering them from Hong Kong off of eBay for like a couple of pennies. But these have been reliable so far. I haven't had any issues with them, uh, so I have to say this is the cheapest option because if you want to get them from any other store, they're usually like $3 or $4 for a single battery, or they can even go up from that. I've seen them up to 10.99 for just two batteries, and it gets ridiculous. Anyways, I thought I'd just I don't know show you guys a couple things that I have. Just some different opinions until somebody poses me a question. Um, Most likely, I think that I'll just be sitting here talking to myself until somebody watches this video much later. And I have to say, sorry for the quality. I didn't know what to expect exactly. This is the best that I can get right now, so you'll just have to deal with it if you're actually sitting and watching this, and I'm very sorry. Anyways, I thought that I'd show you guys my new, I guess, Wii U collection, all of my Wii U games that I have. The stack is pretty small because it's still a new console, and there aren't that many games that I'm interested in getting. And in fact, only uh, I believe only three of these are Wii U exclusives, and I'll get to them. The first one I have here is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and I picked the Wii U version because, well, I have Assassin's Creed on the PS3 already. I have it on the Xbox 360. I thought I'd try it out on a new console. Then I got Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. It was cheap, and I liked the game, so I thought, why not get it? But it is pretty much just like all other versions of Batman Arkham City. So the only difference is that you have all your menu items and stuff in the gamepad screen. So that's an added bonus. Next up, I got Disney's DuckTales Remastered. And I got this version instead of the PS3 or the 360 version because I wanted to get the physical disc copy of this game. And yeah, like I mean, I played it. It was fun. It brought back a lot of memories for me, and I'm happy that I got to play DuckTales again. Um, but yeah, it struck me as being a little weird that DuckTales for the PS3, like you buy the case that comes with a special limited edition pin inside of it of Scrooge McDuck or Uncle Scrooge or whatever you want to call him. Um, they have a pin for like a limited edition pin, but no physical disc, just a download code. So you're basically buying an empty case with a pen and a piece of paper, and I just felt a little bit ripped off with that option. That's why I went with this one. Next, Game and Wario. I like Wario games because a lot of them are just mini game. And sorry, you will be hearing notifications like that intermittently. Um, they are all eBay notifications. Let me just put this down for now. They're all eBay notifications, and I'm looking at a couple of things that are selling right now, and I thought I'd just show you guys later on a couple of things that I've seen on eBay. Anyways, uh, Game and Wario. I like Wario games because there are a lot of Wario games with just collections of mini games like what was it, DIY WarioWare, something like that for the Nintendo DS, and I like these cute little fun fast games. Next, a game I kind of regret buying. Uh, it was cheap enough, so I thought I'd go for it. I had no idea that it would be so terrible, but it's Marvel the Avengers Battle for Earth for the Wii U, of course, and if you're playing single player, you absolutely have to play it entirely on the gamepad screen, which just it sucks. It sucks so much. I just didn't care for it. And then if you want to play multiplayer, you have to play using the Wii remotes and the nunchuck controller. It's just that this game here, if it was with the if it took advantage of the Pro controller, it would have been amazing. But they didn't use it, so it turned out to be a really shitty game. Sorry, a really terrible game. Next, new Super Luigi U. Um, I got it. I don't have new Super Mario Bros. U, um, but this one here is kind of hard, so I haven't played too much of it yet. Next, just two more games to go. The Amazing Spider-Man Ultimate Edition. It was $13. I still haven't played it because I just got it the other day, and I don't have much to say about it. But hopefully it's not terrible like the other Marvel game that I showed you guys. And then last, Zombie U, it came bundled with my Wii U. I got the deluxe Zombie U set, and I actually only played it for the first time a few days ago, and it was pretty fun. I like that when your character dies, and if you're bad at survival games, I guess, if you're bad at them, you will die. So I like that I could actually uh, go back as another character, another person, and just try to pick up from where I last left off. Now, let me just get these out of the way. I thought something that I don't talk about as much, but I've tried to sort of uh, show you guys is my taste in music. Uh, my taste in music basically is everything from about 2001 and earlier. There's a lot of current music that I just absolutely hate. Um, I have very little knowledge of specific singers' names or bands that are new or have been around for the last few years. Just I haven't been that interested in them. And the only sort of new music that I like is new stuff put out by older bands that I've liked for a significant time. One of my favorite bands, though, is Green Day, and this is pretty much my Green Day CD collection. I also have um, a Bullet in the Bible, but I can't seem to find it right now, and I really don't want to get up and go look for it in the middle of this video. Even though, again, it seems like nobody's watching right now, so I'm just talking to myself. But I'll just go ahead and show you guys my collection of Green Day CDs. I don't have all of them. I do have most of them, and I am planning on having all of the Green Day CDs that were released, but it's kind of difficult to find some of them. So I'll start with the beginning, and that is uh, Green Day 1039 Smoothed Out Slappy Hours. This is I believe, the first or the second like official release, and it's from 1990. Um, might as well just mention a couple of songs that I like from each of these CDs. But in all honesty, I just recently picked up this CD, so I haven't really had a chance to listen to it yet. Next, Kerplunk. Actually, I like the CD, but I haven't been able to really pick out specific songs because it seems like every time that I listen to it, I just listen to it in one go, and it just everything sort of mixes in together, and I like the sound of it, especially since um, last time I listened to it was on my iMac G3 from God knows when, from 14 years ago, and it brought back memories of the past, and I just don't like uh, realizing that certain things have changed and they're not likely to get back to that sort of point. Next up, one of my favorites from Green Day is Dookie. Dookie, of course, I like Basket Case because the video for it as well was just one of my favorite videos for a significant time. There was lots of like colorful imagery, and it was in an insane asylum or like a I don't know, like a crazy person hospital, and just the lyrics for the song are quite funny at parts, and I personally liked it. Um, and even when I come around, and She are some of my favorites uh, from this CD. But again, with me and music, once I have one song stuck in my head, like I do right now, which is just I'm, I'm not gonna mention what it is because it's very embarrassing. But once I get a song stuck in my head, I seem to forget almost all of their music, and it's just a terrible thing. Next up, Insomniac, uh, Nimrod, Warning on Warning. Let's see, Misery, and Minority are my two favorite songs on this CD. And I considered playing some, but I don't know if that would be okay. I'm again still figuring this out, but yeah, these are it's sort of just a work in progress right now. Just tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Any questions, anything at all, just let me know. Next up is one of the first compilations, and that is Green Day International Super Hits. Just there you go. And then one of my most listened to Green Day CDs, which is just a little terrible. is Green Day American Idiot, and I did have the intention of at least checking out the the Broadway musical uh, made in reference to this, but uh, it's just I haven't been able to really get into that, but whatever. 21st Century Breakdown, and then Uno and Dos, but no Trace. I do plan on getting that soon enough, but again, it's still retail price, and I don't know about spending that kind of money on a CD. Let me just get those out of the way, and let's see, what should I look at next? Oh, well, I brought out some Transformers, uh, just because Transformers were one of my favorite toys growing up. Transformers and cars, um, other than video games, because video games, I loved Mario, I love my Pokemon games, but I still liked playing with real toys. And I just have a couple of examples here because I have tons and tons of Transformers, and honestly, the newer ones are just way too complicated for me, and I don't understand them in the slightest, and I'm afraid of breaking them each time that I try to transform them. So I grabbed a couple older ones, nothing like really old, just about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old at the least. Um, this one here, I forget what his name is, but it's like a little bulldozer thing, and this one was like I just picked it up because it was the one of the easier ones to transform, and this one was from the set where they go back to Cybertron, I believe, and there's the whole Energon keys and stuff, and they go to different planets, and it just got a little weird. Like, here's one of the Energon keys. At least I think that's what they were called, and they had these codes on the backs of them, and there was like some thing that came with. It was like a map, and there were things that I didn't get involved in because I just wanted to play with the toys. And yes, I was the kind of kid who was 15 and still playing with toys because I like Transformers. I still kind of like them, not as much as I used to, but it all goes back to when I was very young and I watched um, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and all of those series on YTV when I was younger. Anyways, let me just try to transform this guy here. And I don't think that I'll really be able to get this as fast as I used to be able to, but I'm still able to at least transform this one. Let me just get his arms out here. Just one more arm to go. And that's it for this guy here. And that's what he's meant to look like with his arms like this. And then there was, yeah, the keys. They would fit into these slots. They were always different on each Transformer in this series. And with this one here, you'd stick it into the slots on the wheels, and you'd turn it, and there'd be these spikes. They're supposed to be like blades or something, popping out from the center of the wheels. And then with this one here, there's a little like rubber wheel here. So when you turn the one, it would then go ahead and turn the other one most of the times, but not always, not as good. But then again, Transformers are always a little bit lackluster. But what can you do? A lot of people like them. A lot of people still like them. But the newer ones just are a little too strange for me. Like I recently got, well, not recently, it was several months ago now, but I got the 30th anniversary Transformers. There was a set of four, and I got here as examples Megatron and Orion Pax. Orion Pax, I'm assuming, is supposed to be the replacement to Optimus Prime, and like I say that because he has the same colors and same, I guess, name scheme with an first name as an O and the last with a P. So this one's Orion Pax, and this one is Megatron. Stupid me. And it's just, I don't know. I started noticing with these newer ones, especially other ones that I picked up. I just picked up one recently from Walmart as well, just a few days ago. They have these crazy massive weapons that you sort of just stick on the back of them, but they don't look like they're part of the vehicle, and it makes it look lopsided and weird. Um, I wish I could grab one as an example, but it's not handy right now. But the thing that I liked about some Transformers is that they looked pretty much like toy cars. Like, believe it or not, this is a Transformer. There's even an Autobot insignia there, and from the bottom you can tell that yes, this is a Transformer. You can see like the hip part here and like the legs and the arms folded up in there. But this one here was so complicated to transform that most of the times I would just leave it as a car and play with it as a car. And what I liked about this one too is that um, under the hood where the engine block is, I'm gonna have to sort of untransform it a little bit here, or transform it, I should say, a little bit. Um, Under the hood, if I can get this thing opened, was the engine block, but it was also his little gun. And this was like great designing. The weapon actually fit into it securely, out of place, and it looked cosmetically like it belonged. And I liked that. I liked that it matched up like that. But now there's just, again, it looks like there's just big, ugly tumors attached to a perfectly fine-looking toy car, and it's it's just a little bit disappointing. But what can you do? What can you do? Kids are still gonna go crazy for Transformers no matter what. But it seems like they're younger and younger now. I don't see many older kids playing with Transformers. I don't see any kids really playing with Transformers, and I like the thing is, even in stores, I don't really see them uh, like kids going crazy for them. But they continue making new cartoon series for Transformers, so they must still be selling to younger, new crowds. Anyways, what should I go to next? Right now, I'm at almost at the 30-minute mark. Uh, this is kind of difficult considering I don't have any viewers, um, any comments, nothing at all. Let me just check this out. Nope. Uh, Nothing. Nope. Sorry about that. Just trying to figure out a couple things here. Hmm. I'm just looking at all the different options. Huh. Let me just check this out. Okay, cancel that. Close this. Chat is open. And let's see if I can get this back to what it used to look like. There you go. So I guess can't really figure out much of this yet. But again, like I said, I'm just still trying to figure this out. What should we look at next? Oh, well, here I have some of my favorite Dreamcast games. The Dreamcast is my favorite console. I'm not like when I play console games, I don't like to sit in front of a TV and play for too long. Uh, it tends to give me headaches the longer and longer that I sit in front of a TV, the more I have to concentrate, the more I have to actually think about what I'm doing. So I like to play faster, easier, sort of quick off games. And of course, a lot of them are either puzzle games or fighters where I can stop intermittently and just take a break. So what I picked out here are a couple of North American games and a couple of Japanese games. Not to say that they were only released in those areas, but these are the versions that I have. So first with the North American games, I have Mr. Driller, one of my favorite and easiest to play puzzle games. Next, the two Crazy Taxi games on the Dreamcast because I love the idea of driving around like a crazy person to really good late 90s music, early 2000s music. Um, and just the things that I hear the NPCs say are just funny sometimes. And then one of my favorite fighting games, Capcom vs. SNK. It has a lot of memorable characters from Street Fighter and King of Fighters, and uh, I like the characters that they have in this game. They also had other versions of this game for other consoles, but I always like the original. And since that one there has King of Fighters characters, um, I checked out even more King of Fighters games, and I have several other ones, of course. Even one for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, if I can find it here. King of Fighters R2 Pocket Fighting Series. Um, but the one that I got for the Dreamcast is the King of Fighters 99 Evolution. And I always have to look at the label to figure out how to say it because I always feel like I'm getting something in the wrong order. Like, I say the King of Fighters Evolution 99, 99 the King of Fighters Evolution, the King of Fighters 99 Evolution. Um, but yeah, it's there, and the name is just printed on the side there too. If I can get the right angle, sort of. There you go. There's and yeah, the last uh, game for the Dreamcast that's one of my favorites and one of my go-to games is Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes. This is the Japanese version. There are several like pretty fun characters on here, but then there's a couple that are sort of just terrible to play as, to be honest. But it was the first in the line of Marvel vs. Capcom video games, and it was definitely a great start to a great series that sort of just isn't that great anymore. Here's, let me get these out of the way. Um, since I mentioned SNK there, I thought that maybe I should show you guys this here. It's something that lots of people have been hating on for what it is, and that is the Neo Geo X handheld. And I have to say that yes, of course, I've seen lots of people say that it's terrible. It's made by a third party. It's made by um, Blaze and I forget what the other company is, but it's only been like approved by SNK. But even then, they didn't like really what came out of their agreement. So it's pretty much dead at this point, all things considered. Uh, it sort of just died out, and the games weren't really released outside of the U.S., and it kind of sucks because it would have been amazing to have a handheld uh, with tons and tons of great classic SNK games. And yes, I know there's the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and I do have one. I actually have two. The other one is up there, about in that area. Um, and I do have several games for it, but I don't know. I wanted something just a little newer and sleeker and nice looking, and that's what the Neo Geo X is, but people still hate it for using emulations instead of um, using the actual game. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I wish that it was still being supported, that it was actually being supported in Canada, but it wasn't really. So what can you do? I just need to take a short break. Sorry, I just got really thirsty after talking for about 35 minutes there. Let's see, what am I going to look at next? Okay. I thought I'd show you guys some manga, but also show you some uh, anime that I'm into. So, of course, a manga that I like plus an anime that I liked is Full Metal Alchemist. And yes, these are stickers from Value Village. I did pick these ones up recently from Value Village, just a couple ones here. Um, but I did read these in my high school library when I was in high school several years ago. And I did watch the first Full Metal Alchemist series, and I did recently watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I have to admit is a lot better than the original series. And I loved the story, uh, like the decisions that they made in showing the story in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, unlike what they did in Full Metal Alchemist, the 2003 series. But anyways, I'm just rambling here. Well, this entire video is rambling, and I see that I have one viewer now. If there's anything you want to ask me, just go ahead and ask um, about anything really, any electronics, any questions. Are you looking for any deals for the holiday season? Any gift suggestions? Uh, Anything. If not, just comment on any of the stuff that I'm showing you, anything that you're interested in, me talking more about. Uh, Next, I was considering talking about what sort of movies and TV shows I'm into, as well as like the anime stuff. Like one of my it's a little difficult. I'm not sure if everybody would call it exactly an anime because No, yeah, it's an anime. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. You can see I have more seasons back there, but I just pulled out season 6 and season 9 because these two were my favorite seasons from all of Dragon Ball Z. I didn't really care for the first season of Dragon Ball Z, sorry, and I definitely didn't care for the Frieza saga. And there were several episodes at the beginning of the Trunks saga that I really didn't care about either. I didn't really care again for androids 19 and 20 or Dr. Gero. I did though like later on when Cell comes back from the future to wreak havoc on the past and starts sucking up people and then starts to attack the androids and then becomes what's it called, the Perfect Cell. But yeah, season 6 is when the Cell game saga um, plays out. I prefer this because the Cell, the overarching, arcing, whatever, um, Cell themed episodes just lasted way too long, just way too long, and I was happy when it finally came to a conclusion, and we got introduced to some uh, pretty cool new characters. Even Hercule in the end, you gotta love Hercule for what he does later on near the end of the Dragon Ball Z series. Now, season 9 is the last season of Dragon Ball Z. There were a couple of movies, I believe, that were released between Z and GT, and yeah, most people don't like GT. I like GT to some degree, but it was still kind of just it was too different from Z, and I wish that they hadn't made Trunks and Pan so weak. It's just if they were stronger, if they didn't get into so many ridiculous situations, I think GT would have been a much better series. But yeah, I love all the different versions of Boo. I love um, when he's absorbed a lot of the Z fighters, how he continuously transforms when some of them break apart from their fusions, um, or when some are removed and other people's features become more uh, dominant in his look. And even at the very end, the fight between Oob and Goku, and his decision to go and help him train, it just it got me. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Let me get those out of the way. And next up, TV shows and movies as well. I thought I'd just show you guys, or you one person, and whoever else might be watching this later on, um, the some sort of scary movies that I like. They're not necessarily scary. They're sort of either monster themed or uh, just graphic and violent. But there are movies that uh, I definitely have fond memories of. First up is Troll 2. Uh, for those that don't know about this movie, it is, well, it was meant to be uh, a sequel to Troll or Trolls, I believe. Um, but the entire movie was filmed. Um, it's just the crew behind the movie was Italian. They didn't speak a word of English. They had everything translated, and to make it Troll 2, it was just an afterthought. And in the entire movie, these creatures here they're not trolls. They're goblins. And the town that they all live in is called Nilbog, which is goblin spelled backwards. And of course, sorry, um, the way that the family that unknowingly enters this town, um, the way they find out that Nilbog is actually Goblin is by a similar move to uh, Shelley Duvall's discovery of Red Rum, meaning murder, and it's kind of funny because in the entire movie, it's like just the little kid knows what's actually going on, and the only person who believes him is the ghost of his dead grandfather, and his entire family just thinks he's crazy. And just not to spoil the entire movie, um, I'll just mention one scene involving the little kid to prevent his family from eating the goblin vegetarian food that will turn themselves into plants. Um, he can't think of anything else he can possibly do, so he gets up on the table, unzips his pants, and pees all over the food. And it's just it turned out to be a really funny movie. It wasn't meant to be a funny movie, but it was definitely funny. And there's lots of scenes on YouTube that you can check out that show how funny this movie is. Next up, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Just recently found out that this was Tim Curry, I believe. Yeah, Tim Curry. Uh, Still surprised, but Tim Curry's turning out to be one of the best actors ever. And yeah, I love Tim Curry. I love campy musical uh, movies with a twist of horror, which doesn't happen too often, but it did happen again in Repo, the Genetic Opera, and I like that in this movie here, at the very end, Paris Hilton's face falls off because she's had too much plastic surgery, and it's actually Paris Hilton playing a spoiled heiress, so it it's pretty funny. Next up is Death Proof. Of course, Quentin Tarantino. Love him. This movie is very graphic and violent, and it's just what I expect from him, and it's amazing. It was part of I guess, the Grindhouse double feature alongside Planet Terror, but definitely Death Proof is my favorite. And last for my examples of the kinds of movies that I like. Of course, I like lots of other kinds of movies too, even comedies, dramas, kids movies, anything really. There's just too much to go through right now. But here I have John Carpenter's The Thing, and I kind of liked the recent remake of this movie as well, but I have to say there's no getting over the original. And then just a couple of, I guess, grim TV shows that I thought I'd mention that I also liked, but were cut short due to different reasons. Um, well, the first one is Pushing Daisies. I absolutely loved the concept behind this show that this guy has the power to bring back something to life for just a few moments, and if it stays alive too long, something else in the general vicinity will die and take its place. He finds out the hard way that if he ever touches that person that he brings back to life again, they will die and they will not be able to be brought back. And I see I have two viewers now, so again, I'll just say anything you'd like to ask me about anything really, TV shows, movies, video games, electronics, any questions you have, if you're looking for decent sales, anything, just let me know and I'll address it as soon as I possibly can. I'm still trying to figure out the setup here, so sorry if I'm not able to answer the questions right now. But yeah, Pushing Daisies, I love it. Very beginning, you have this guy witness his mother's death by aneurysm, I believe it was. and he brings her back to life, not knowing that he'd bring her back to life, but he brings her back to life. And then later that night, um, when he hugs his mother, good night, he touches her, and of course she dies. And the saddest thing too is that um, the replacement life for hers was the life of his father. So no, not his father. It was the girl across the street. This girl here. It was her father that paid the price, and it was kind of sad. It was kind of supernatural and weird, very colorful. Kristen Chenoweth was in it, and I have a love-hate relationship with the work of Kristen Chenoweth. So uh, that was one negative thing, but I definitely liked this show, and I wish it stayed on the air longer. Um, Another show that fell under similar circumstances is Dead Like Me. At least with Dead Like Me, they did have 2 seasons of it, and sorry, just had an itch there. And I'm back down to 0 viewers right now, so just whoever comes across this later on, if you manage to stay on till the end here, thank you very much. Or even if you're just joining in at this point, thank you very much for joining in. Uh, Dead Like Me, this series here, uh, I loved it. It was sad. It was funny. There was some closure. There was some closure for some characters, and absolutely no closure for others. I felt terrible, terrible, terrible when Rebecca Gayheart. I felt terrible when she sort of ascended to heaven and sort of just left George there wondering what's happening exactly. Like it was just it was sad and happy at the same time that she finally got to make it to heaven. But yeah, I like this show because lots of the deaths in the show happen in the most ridiculous ways, and of course because uh, the main cast, they're all spirits and they're all reapers. Uh, if they didn't manage to save the person's soul in time, and they saved them after the event, the person's soul would remain in the image of what they looked like at that point. So some people got fried, some people got crushed, some people got mauled. It was funny, and I definitely liked the effects that they had on the show. Anyways, last, because I only have a few minutes left now, I thought I'd talk about the 3DS and some games I liked for it, and just some I didn't really like, and a certain situation for me. So, sorry, I had to go reach for that. Um, a purchase that I regret making for the 3DS, and it's sad that I came to regret this, is Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon because I don't know, collector's edition. I am just too bored with this game. I can't even get past the tutorial mode to actually get into the game. Uh, it's a poor excuse right now for not liking this game, but I can't get into it. It's just so it feels so bad right now, but I hope it gets better later on in the game. But there's not enough description into as to what you're supposed to actually be doing in the different tutorial in the tutorial settings. So it's kind of difficult to get through just the beginning of it. But some games that I liked and actually finished for the 3DS, but I won't spoil the endings, of course. Um, Two of my favorite games. I also finished Pokemon X. Sorry, no, Pokemon Y, Rayman Origins, Super Mario 3D Land, and the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. But the two games I picked out for this right now are Project X Zone or Project Cross Zone, however you want to say it. I have the limited edition one here, and The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, and this is the game that I've most recently completed. With Project, I'm just gonna call it Project X Zone because that's what I've been calling it for the longest time, uh, even though it's only several months old. The thing that I liked about this game is that it was a turn-based action strategic RPG, something like that. It was a mix of not only characters from uh, different companies and different storylines, but also a mix of gameplay. And I love this game. It was so fun. But the terrible, terrible, terrible thing about this game is that not in like when I say this, I hope you understand what I mean, but enemies respawn. Like they constantly are coming back in later levels. And I'm not talking about like low level enemies that you can beat in one or two attacks. These are like boss level enemies that keep coming back and back, and not one at a time. They come back in sets, like several at a time, and just this is a small spoiler for whoever's going to watch this, but at the very end, they all come back, and they all come back several times, and it's just terrible because you think that you're done, but it just keeps going and going and going. Now, with A Link Between Worlds, I love this game. It was the first Zelda game since Oracle of Oracle, Oracle of Seasons, since Ocarina of Time that I was able to finish. Uh, I just I absolutely loved it. It was easy to play. It was fun. It was easy to figure out where all the items were, where you were supposed to go, what you were supposed to use to get to different places. There are probably still some things that are hidden. I haven't 100% completed this game, but I have like beaten the main story. All that's left are little side quests and stuff like that. Especially the B. No, I got the B medallion, the gold B medallion. But I absolutely love this Zelda game, and I hope the next console Zelda game uh, takes from this and is just as fun. Um, I have 4 more minutes left. I thought, well, there's a few more things I just wanted to mention, but I think I'll end it with this one last thing here. Um, so to play my 3DS games, I'm kind of lame, and I did go ahead and buy a 2DS, which I don't really use, so it was a poor purchase. And I tend to just use my blue 3DS XL that I got with it was in the bundle with Mario Kart 7, and I prefer to use this one here because it already has some light surface scratches there on the back of it. Not that you can really see them, but there are a few light scratches on there and scuffs, and I've already sort of damaged the outside appearance of this one, so I definitely didn't want to risk degrading the quality of this one here. But I did get the red version of the Pokemon X and Y 3DS XL. Uh, I didn't get the blue one because I already had a blue 3DS XL, and I like the red color better. And yeah, I got this, but sadly I haven't been using it as much because I'm afraid to just I, I'm afraid I'm gonna destroy it, and it's kind of sad, but I mean stuff happens. Hopefully, eventually I'll actually get to use it, and I won't be that afraid about using it. And since I have 2 more minutes, I think I'll show you just one more thing. Uh, at least this one person that's been sticking by, or at least this one person that just showed up now. Um, just one little thing that kind of bothers me. I recently purchased a Roku I made a video about it. I got a Roku 3. It came with this remote here that just it reminds me of something. That something, of course, is the the Wii remote. It has a similar layout. It has these two buttons here as well as the Wii remote has, and it has the D-pad there, D-pad here. Um, Home button up here though instead of down in the center, but still it looked too similar and it kind of bothered me. But the idea of adding some kind of motion control to the Roku to play certain games uh, was a compelling idea until I realized there aren't that many games that take advantage of it, and it kind of just sucks. And not to say that the Roku sucks, but just I fully said that, but it's that in Canada right now is kind of lackluster, so there's not much that can be done about that until there are significant changes in the content that's available to us Canadians. That's the end of it. I did my first live broadcast. Uh, I had a very, very, very small audience, but thank you to this one viewer that has stayed probably stayed all the way through, or just showed up right here at the end. But thank you very much. Leave comments in the comment section below on the YouTube video that's going to be posted of this. And yeah, thank you for watching. And if there's anything you ever want to ask me about anything you've seen here or anything similar to the stuff that I've been talking about, just let me know and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And again, thank you very much. And I'm at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now, so I'll just stop my broadcast here. See ya.